So I made this little sharpening cart last year, and it served me really well as a surface for keeping my sharpening stuff, clamping things down, storing everything, but it's not heavy enough, and even with the feet locked, it rocks. So I'm going to need to take this set of feet off, put some kind of platform here so that it sits on the ground instead of on these casters. I guess I'm going to start by taking everything out of the drawers and getting it up on the bench. Okay, so I've got it up on its side. Here's the front, here's the side that overhangs. I've reoriented the casters so that the two are sitting on the same side that are just the swivels without the locks. And what I'm going to do is, I had a little bit of scrap plywood left over from building this to make a base for it that I'm going to attach here, so that normally it sits on this, and this will be a little bit more centered over the work area as opposed to centered on just the base here, which was part of the problem. Whenever I would push on that out hanging, it would kind of tip the thing. So this will be centered more over the work area. These feet are just a little higher than the casters, so that to move it, I'll have to tip it up a little bit to tip it onto the casters and then roll it around, then tip it back down. But it's pretty short and not that heavy, so it shouldn't be too difficult. So I'm going to attach it and mess around with it for a while before I screw it down permanently or do anything else to it. Here we are, I'll load it up, and it looks really nice, but if you start to use it, it's got a bit of a wobble, and my shop floor is not even at all, but I don't think that's it. Somehow some of it bowed when it got the finish put on it. Just used boiled linseed oil to make it look a little closer. So I'm going to try, I got different kinds of furniture pads. Felted ones I don't think are going to last long, though they probably stabilize a bit more. These will probably last longer. May need to find some kind of rubber feet so that they'll stay in place when you're shaking this thing around, but this is the best I've got for now. Alright, so turns out a couple of felt thick pads underneath here was about all it took. The shop floor isn't particularly level, so that kind of helps take up all that and get you away from shavings and stuff like that. So it's still got a little wobble. Some of that comes from the felt, some of it comes from this box. I should have stuck some kind of support in the center, so I might eventually move these drawers down to do that, to help stiffen it up. But you put a foot on it and take a task, it requires a little muscle. It's pretty stable compared to how it was before. To make it really stable, for an uneven floor like this, you do a 3-point system, because that always makes it plain, but then it would be more likely to tip because you have kind of a shallower footprint there. So I think I'm going to stick with this, although I might replace the felt pads with some kind of rubber stopper at some point. But for now, it's much more stable, and it's a little awkward because of how heavy it is, but you can wrap it around the shop if need be and relocate it, and when it's there, it's pretty solid.